Welcome to the Personality Driven Podcast with your AI hosts, Jeff and Jazz.
Hey everybody, and welcome back for another deep dive.
That's right.
This time we're going to kind of look at a topic near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah.
Which is television.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, how to make good television. And we're going to be looking at a book called Personality Driven, The Secret Sauce for Selling News.
Okay.
Written by a guy named Ray Brune.
Ray Brune.
I don't know if you've heard of him.
I have not.
But he is a 4-time Emmy Award winner.
Wow.
He's got 8 nominations.
That's impressive.
And a Peabody.
He's a big deal.
So
obviously knows something about.
Yeah. He's done some stuff.
Making good TV.
And he's got some interesting insights in this book. And I think what's cool about this book is it's targeted at news.
Right.
But honestly, a lot of the stuff in here is applicable to pretty much any type of content creation.
For sure.
So whether you're making a podcast or you're trying to, build a YouTube channel or whatever it is.
Especially these days when everybody's a content creator,
Right.
a lot of the stuff can apply.
Yeah. So it's a really great book, and we're going to kind of dive into some of the key takeaways.
Cool.
One of the things that Ray talks about right off the bat is this idea that in television, especially in the world of news,
Right.
everybody got access to the same information,
Everyone's got the same
wire services.
facts.
So how do you stand out?
Right.
How do you, as a local station, differentiate yourself from all the other stations that are covering basically the same stories?
Yeah. So how do you make your product stand out?
And that's where this idea of the signature segment comes in. And he's got all these great examples from his career of different segments that he created that kind of bucked the trend.
Right.
That took chances and really kind of resonated with viewers.
Yeah, because it's not just about the information.
Right.
It's about making it fun and interesting and something that people will remember.
Right. So it's not just about, here's what happened today in the news.
Right.
It's how do you make those stories come alive?
Right.
How do you give them some kind of unique spin or perspective? And what I thought was interesting, too, is he says, this is not just for, your lighthearted morning shows or whatever.
Yeah.
This applies even to, like, the really serious, hard-hitting news programs.
Yeah.
Like, you can still create a signature segment within that format.
Well, because I think back in the day, there was this idea that if you were a serious news organization, you couldn't have any personality.
Right.
You had to be, very buttoned up.
Yeah, very straight.
Yeah, very straight and, kind of boring almost.
Yeah, just the facts, ma'am.
Right.
Just the facts.
But now it's all changed.
Yeah.
People want to see the people behind the news.
Exactly. And so he gives this one example. He was working on this morning show in Chicago called Eye Opener.
Okay.
And he created this segment called Newsreel.
Okay.
And the idea was to take, kind of everyday local stories.
Right.
And give them this old-timey feel. Like a vintage newsreel, kind of like,
like a silent movie.
Yeah. Exactly like a black and white silent movie with the, with the music and everything. And it was a huge hit with viewers.
Yeah.
People loved it. But what's funny is one of his bosses hated it.
Really?
Hated the newsreel segment.
What did he hate about it?
Because he was this very by-the-books, like left-brained kind of guy. And he thought it was just stupid.
He didn't get it.
He didn't get it. He thought it was...
The irony.
Yeah.
Total irony.
That he's in television and he doesn't...
He's like, people are buying these expensive high-definition TVs.
Right.
And you're giving them something that looks like it's from the, 1920s. Like, why would you do that?
Right.
But, it just goes to show that sometimes what one person thinks is a terrible idea actually connects with the audience.
That's so true.
And I think that's, one of the big takeaways from this book is like, you've got to be willing to take chances.
You have to be willing to be different.
Yeah.
You have to stand out. And he's got all these other examples too, like, Gospel of Twitter.
Okay.
Where he literally had like a guy dressed as a priest.
What?
Like reading celebrity tweets.
Oh my God.
From like a pulpit.
That's funny.
And it was just this really kind of visually striking,
yeah,
unexpected thing.
It plays on, everyone's familiar with like a church setting.
Okay.
So it's something that immediately you kind of get.
Yeah. So it's playing with those familiar tropes, but giving it a twist. And then he had like Wrench the Handyman.
Okay.
Which was literally like a hunky handyman giving like home repair tips.
Okay.
So it's like kind of playing to a certain demographic.
A little pandering there.
A little pandering.
I don't know if that would fly today.
Probably not.
But back
then it worked.
All right.
And then he even had one called Window Shopping, where they would take the news helicopter.
Okay.
And they would just kind of fly around and look into the windows of like office buildings.
That's so...
And just see what people were doing. And it was like,
Is that legal?
I don't know.
But
it was like this weird voyeuristic thing.
Yeah.
But people loved it.
Right, because you're curious.
Yeah.
About what people are doing.
Exactly. And it's like, you're seeing these little slices of life happening in these, high-rise office buildings. Mm-hmm. And it's just like this weird juxtaposition of like,
ordinary and extraordinary.
Exactly. And it's like you're seeing the city in a way that you've never seen it before.
Right.
So it's just really creative. And I think it's inspiring to see how he took these like kind of everyday things and found ways to make them
something special.
Yeah, entertaining and memorable. And that's really the key.
That's what it's all about.
You want to create something that people are going to remember and talk about.
And they're going to tune in for every day.
And that's what separates the good from the great.
So when you're thinking about your own content, whether it's, video or audio or whatever it is,
right?
How can you find those little moments that are going to make people go, wow?
And a lot of it goes back to personality.
Exactly.
You said it before.
Yeah.
People watch people.
They do.
And so if you can bring your own personality into it,
right,
it's going to be more engaging for people.
Totally. And I think that's one of the things that Ray really emphasizes in this book is like, don't be afraid to be yourself.
Right.
Don't be afraid to let your personality shine through. Right. Because that's what's going to make your content unique and memorable.
Nobody else is you.
That's right.
You are the special sauce.
And it's funny because one of the things he talks about is like this idea of, talking about the competition, which back in the early 90s was like a huge no-no in television.
Like you couldn't mention the other networks.
Yeah, you just didn't do that.
Yeah. But he was working at KTLA at the time and he was like, why not?
Right.
Let's have some fun with it. Let's go poke fun at the competition.
Yeah.
And so he tells this story about how Sam Rubin, who was the entertainment guy on their morning show, casually mentioned the Today Show one day.
Like on air?
On air.
Oh, my God.
And everybody in the control room, like, freaked out.
Like, oh, my God, what did he just do?
He's going to get fired.
Right.
But the audience loved it.
Glee.
They thought it was hilarious, and it created this kind of, like...
intimacy.
Yeah, like they were in on a joke.
Uh-huh.
Like, we all know that the Today Show exists.
Right.
But nobody ever talks about it.
Right.
And so it kind of broke down this barrier.
Yeah.
And from that point on, they were like, okay,
right,
we're going to embrace this.
Right.
We're going to talk about the competition.
Right.
We're going to have some fun with it.
Yeah.
And it led to all these great moments, like Sam literally trying to sneak into the KCBS newsroom during a live remote.
On air.
On air.
What?
Yeah, they were doing a live remote from like a shopping mall or something.
Yeah.
And he like literally tried to sneak in to the KCBS newsroom.
Look, a competitor.
Yeah, their biggest competitor.
Wow.
And then there's the whole David Cassidy incident, which we'll talk about later.
I need to hear this story.
But it's just like, they took something that was supposed to be like this taboo thing.
Right.
And they turned it into this like...
into a bit.
Yeah, like this running joke. Mm-hmm. And it just made the show more fun and more engaging.
Well, because it's relatable,
Exactly.
Everyone's got competition.
Everybody likes to kind of, take a little jab.
Yeah, poke a little fun.
Exactly. And so it just kind of like created this sense of like camaraderie.
Yeah.
With the audience. Like we're all in this together.
Yeah.
We're
all watching TV.
We're all watching TV. Let's have some fun with it.
So it's almost like they brought the audience into the TV family.
Exactly. And I think that's a really powerful thing.
Absolutely.
And it's something that any content creator can do.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you create that sense of community with your audience?
And it's all about authenticity.
Being yourself.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to be real.
Yeah. And people can spot a fake
totally
a mile away.
So, just be yourself.
Right.
Have fun with it.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to
be different.
To be different. Yeah.
I've been looking for this book for more than 30 years. It just never occurred to me that I'd be the one to write it. I'm Raymond J. Brune. The meaning of life is such a profound topic for a kid who grew up Catholic. Altar boy and playing guitar every Sunday at Mass. But when I read the Bible and I would listen to those priests at church, I just felt no connection. It wasn't until I was in my 40s that everything I thought I believed came crashing down around me. All because I happened to meet this woman, Lisa Williams. This is so true. People come into your life exactly when they're supposed to. Lisa talks to dead people. I know you don't have to say it. I've heard it all. You're a skeptic.
We've got a little girl in the van with us, by the way, everybody.
But as a TV producer, I was overseeing 2 seasons of her world-renowned TV series, Life Among the Dead, on the Lifetime Network. And what I encountered, what I experienced, what I witnessed was nothing short of awesome. The victims of 9/11 actually spoke to us. Lisa revealed astounding things about my mother that Lisa couldn't possibly have known. We had real-life Scooby-Doo moments in a haunted mansion. And the universe actually began speaking to me through a series of astonishing coincidences that could not have been just coincidental. I challenge you to put the things you believe to the test. It's the only way we grow spiritually. No religion, no sermons. Maybe you finding me wasn't just some mere accident. Men and women around the world are slowly awakening. I did. Life's Meaning Revealed, Secrets, Magic, and Miracles That Transformed My World by me, Raymond J. Brune. In paperback and ebook. Exclusively on Amazon.
One of the other things that Ray talks about in the book is like this idea of,
Yeah.
The guest isn't the star.
Okay.
Like the talent is the star.
Uh-huh.
And he uses this great comparison between Richard Simmons and Nicole Kidman.
Okay.
And he's like, on the surface, you would think
Nicole Kidman would be the Nicole Kidman A-list star.
Yeah.
Like everybody wants to have Nicole Kidman on their show, for sure.
But he's like Richard Simmons.
Okay.
Was always a better guest.
Why?
Because he was unpredictable.
Okay.
He brought out the best in the hosts. He made them laugh. He made them think.
Right.
He kept them on their toes. Whereas Nicole Kidman might be beautiful and famous.
Right.
But she's also very predictable.
Yeah.
And so it's not about, getting the biggest name.
Right.
It's about getting the guest who's going to create
the best content.
The best content, yeah.
Right.
And the most engaging television.
And sometimes, it's those people that you wouldn't necessarily think of as being like the most interesting people.
Yeah, the A-list.
Yeah.
Celebrity.
The most fascinating person in the world.
And it goes back to this idea that people watch people.
Right.
So you want to have guests who are going to bring out the personality of your hosts.
Yeah.
You want to have those moments where they're laughing.
Right.
They're crying. They're getting surprised.
They're reacting to.
Yeah, they're reacting to the guest.
Right.
And that's what makes
good TV.
Good TV.
Yeah.
Compelling TV.
Because it feels real.
Uh-huh.
It feels authentic.
And it makes you want to come back.
Exactly. So it's not about, trying to create this polished, perfect, product.
A robot.
Yeah, it's about embracing those imperfections and those moments of spontaneity.
Yeah.
And I think,
because those are the things that people remember.
Exactly. And it's funny because, we were talking about the David Cassidy incident earlier.
The David Cassidy incident?
So this is a perfect example of what Ray calls, seizing the moment.
Okay.
And turning a potential disaster into a win.
Okay.
So David Cassidy is supposed to be a guest on Good Day LA, which is KTLA's biggest competitor.
Oh, okay.
But somehow he ends up at the KTLA studios.
Well, how does that happen?
I don't know. Like his driver took him to the wrong place.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know. But
I mean, that's a producer's nightmare.
Yeah, it's like a total nightmare.
Oh, my gosh.
But Ray, instead of panicking, was like, okay, we're going to bring him on.
He's like, we're not letting this opportunity.
We're not letting this opportunity
go to
waste.
Wow.
So they bring David Cassidy on the air.
Yeah.
And they turn it into this whole bit about how they kidnapped him. From the competition. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And the audience loved it.
I bet.
And the best part is Fox refused to have David Cassidy on their show.
After he'd been on
KTLA.
Oh, wow.
So he went back to KTLA.
No way.
Yeah. And they did another segment with him.
So they got double
the content
from
this one mistake.
That is amazing.
So it's just like...
Talk about turning lemons into lemonade.
Exactly. Like, you've got to be ready for anything.
You've got to think on your feet.
Exactly. And, sometimes the best moments are the ones that you can't plan for.
Right.
And I think that's a really great lesson.
Absolutely.
For anyone who's creating content is like, you can have your plan.
Right.
But be open to those...
the unexpected.
Yeah, those unexpected moments.
Yeah.
Because that's often where the magic happens.
Yeah, those are the things that go viral.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, don't be so rigid in your approach that you miss out on those opportunities to really connect with your audience.
Absolutely.
In a genuine way.
Yeah, be present. Be in the moment.
Exactly.
And sometimes those moments come from the most unexpected places.
Right.
Like Ray talks about this thing called satellite tour spying.
Satellite tour spying.
Okay. So back in the day, KTLA would do these satellite interviews with celebrities, to promote their latest movies or TV shows.
Right.
And this was before Zoom and all that stuff. So they would literally
beam in these celebrities via satellite.
From like all over the world.
Yeah, so they'd be in Australia or London or wherever.
Okay.
And so they're doing this interview with Matt Lattanzi.
I
don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, vaguely.
He was married to Olivia Newton-John for a while.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they're doing this interview with him. And after the interview is over, the director in Australia accidentally leaves the satellite feed on big oops.
Oh, no.
And so they're at KTLA, just sitting there, watching the monitor, and they start seeing all this stuff happening.
Like behind the scenes.
Like the publicists are like yelling at each other.
Yeah.
The celebrities are complaining about the food.
No way.
Yeah, it's like total chaos.
That's hilarious.
And they're like...
So they're getting this like unfiltered glimpse into like the real Hollywood.
Yeah, and they're like, we've got to put this on TV.
Are you kidding me?
So they turn it into a segment.
That's amazing.
Called Satellite Tour Spying.
Satellite Tour Spying. I love it.
And it becomes a huge hit.
Real?
People are tuning in just to
see the train wreck.
To see the behind the scenes stuff.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so it's just like another example of like, taking something that's a mistake.
Right.
And turning it into something
brilliant.
Brilliant and unexpected.
And I think that's what's so great about Ray's approach is like he's always looking for those little moments.
Little nuggets.
Yeah, those little nuggets of gold
that
are hidden in plain sight. And he's not afraid to experiment.
Right.
And to try new things.
And to fail sometimes.
Yeah.
But,
that's how you learn.
That's how you learn, and that's how you grow.
And that's how you create something truly unique.
Exactly.
And memorable.
And I think another great example of that is the segment Window Shopping.
Window shopping. Tell me about that one. All right. So one morning at KTLA, Ray's looking at the monitors.
Okay.
And he sees the helicopter camera is focused on this group of people working on the top floors of the U.S. Bank Tower.
Okay.
Which is, this iconic skyscraper in downtown L.A.
Right.
And he's just watching these people...
Going about their day,
like way up high above the city.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is fascinating.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, why aren't we doing a segment about this?
So instead of using the helicopter for like traffic reports or like breaking news...
Right.
They're just using it to like spy on people.
Basically.
I love it.
Yeah, so they create this segment called Window Shopping.
Okay.
Where they literally just take the helicopter and fly around to different office buildings.
And just look in the windows.
Look in the windows and see what people are doing.
That is so creepy, but also so compelling.
I know, right?
Like I would totally watch that.
Yeah, it's like you can't look away.
It's like a car accident,
Yeah, you shouldn't look, but you can't help yourself.
Exactly. And it's like, you're seeing these little slices of life.
Yeah.
These little human moments happening up in the sky.
Yeah, it's like a bird's eye view of humanity.
Exactly. And it's just so simple.
Right.
But so effective.
Right.
And I think it speaks to this idea that, the best ideas are often the simplest ones.
Yeah, you don't need a lot of bells and whistles.
Right.
Just need a good idea.
A good idea and a good execution.
And a willingness to try something different.
You're in the conference room with coworkers. Do you know why it's absolutely essential you sit right next to your office enemy? Your boss tilts her head toward you, exposing her carotid artery. What is the message she's unconsciously sending you? Do you know the one incredibly simple thing you must do during a job interview to instantly make you a top candidate for the position? The answers are found in the science known as psychological intelligence. It's essential you armor up with every available advantage in today's business environment to decode the minds of your bosses, coworkers, clients, and customers. More than 100 hacks are revealed in this powerful book. Don't play fair. Psych Intel Hacks for Office Success. It's an Amazon bestseller from author Jagger Chase, best-selling author of 101 Ways to Cash In Now with ChatGPT and AI, the biggest wealth builder in history. His book shares the wisdom winners use to outsmart adversaries, conquer obstacles, and soar to success in all areas of business. If you don't understand the strategic value in whispering, you can't be competitive in the office. Practice your due diligence, then buy the book. Don't play fair. Psych Intel Hacks for Office Success. Available now exclusively on Amazon in paperback, ebook, and audiobook.
You know, one of the things that Ray really emphasizes in this book is like, don't be afraid to break the rules.
Break the rules.
You know, like challenge the status quo and think outside the box.
Yeah, because that's where the creativity comes from.
Exactly. And, you know, even when you're dealing with those like kind of dreaded assignments.
Right.
Like he calls them Code 1000 stories. Code 1000 stories.
Yeah, like when the boss comes to you and says, we have to do a story about,
you know, the station's new initiative. Or,
or like some charity event that the network is sponsoring.
Right, like something that you're forced to cover.
Right.
Even though it's not really.
And it's worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or interesting.
Exactly. He's like, you can still find ways to make those stories entertaining and engaging.
Yeah.
So he tells this story about how KTLA was asked to promote the premiere of Cheers.
Cheers, the sitcom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which back then was like a huge hit.
Right.
But still, it's like, you know, a promotional thing.
Yeah. It's not hard-hitting news.
Right. So
how do they make that interesting?
Because like instead of just phoning it in, they turned it over to Sam Rubin.
Sam Rubin again?
Yeah.
Okay.
The entertainment guy. And they're like, go wild. And so Sam and the crew create this hilarious segment where they stage a mock hostage situation.
With Sam, like, demanding that the station air Cheers.
Oh, my gosh.
Or else.
It's amazing.
And it was so funny and so unexpected that it became like a viral sensation.
Wow.
People were talking about it for weeks.
And they turned this boring assignment into something.
Something amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it just goes to show that, like, you know, even the most mundane tasks can become opportunities for creativity.
Yeah.
If you approach them with the right mindset.
Absolutely.
And I think that's, you know, one of the big takeaways from this book is like, don't be afraid to have fun.
Don't be afraid to think outside the box.
Don't be afraid to take chances.
Yeah.
And most importantly, don't be afraid to be yourself.
Be yourself.
Because that's what's going to make your content stand out.
Unique and memorable.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is Ray spends a good chunk of the book talking about something that seems pretty basic. The mailbag segment. Yeah. You know the thing where you read viewer letters and answer questions and stuff?
Seems pretty straightforward.
You'd think so, but a lot of shows get it wrong.
Really?
They just treat it as like filler.
Okay.
You know, at the end of the show.
To kill time.
Yeah, exactly. But Ray's like, no.
Okay.
The mailbag is an opportunity to connect with your viewers, to make them feel like they're part of the show.
Okay.
So he talks about how he completely overhauled the mailbag segment on this morning show he was working on in Chicago called Eye Opener.
Eye Opener.
Yeah. And instead of just having the anchors read the letters on air, they actually brought viewers into the studio.
Wow.
They built this whole set that looked like a cozy living room.
Okay.
And they would invite viewers to come in and share their comments and questions in person.
So it was like an actual conversation.
Exactly. It's not just like a one-way street.
Right.
It's a dialogue.
I like that.
Yeah. And he talks about how sometimes they would even surprise viewers by showing up at their homes to deliver their mailbag responses.
Oh, wow.
Like in person.
That's commitment.
Yeah. It's like going the extra mile.
And it's those little things.
Yeah.
That make people feel special.
Exactly. And it shows that you actually care about your viewers.
It's not just a job.
Yeah.
You're actually invested in them.
Yeah, you're building a relationship.
And I think that's a really important takeaway.
Absolutely.
From this book is
right.
like, it's all about those human connections.
Right.
Whether you're making television or you're making a podcast.
Yeah. Or you're just, interacting with people in your everyday life.
Exactly.
It's those connections that make life worth living.
Well said. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So I think, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
With Ray Brune's Personality Driven.
Yeah, it's a great book.
It's a great book. And I think the big takeaway is like,
yeah,
don't be afraid to be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to have fun. And don't be afraid to connect with your audience.
Connect with your audience.
Because that's what's going to make your content stand out.
Absolutely.
So on that note,
yeah,
thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And we'll see you next time.
You're in the conference room with coworkers. Do you know why it's absolutely essential you sit right next to your office enemy? Your boss tilts her head toward you, exposing her carotid artery. What is the message she's unconsciously sending you? Do you know the one incredibly simple thing you must do during a job interview to instantly make you a top candidate for the position? The answers are found in the science known as psychological intelligence. It's essential you armor up with every available advantage in today's business environment to decode the minds of your bosses, coworkers, clients, and customers. More than 100 hacks are revealed in this powerful book. Don't play fair. Psych Intel Hacks for Office Success. It's an Amazon bestseller from author Jagger Chase, best-selling author of 101 Ways to Cash In Now with ChatGPT and AI, the biggest wealth builder in history. His book shares the wisdom winners use to outsmart adversaries, conquer obstacles, and soar to success in all areas of business. If you don't understand the strategic value in whispering, you can't be competitive in the office. Practice your due diligence, then buy the book. Don't play fair. Psych Intel Hacks for Office Success. Available now exclusively on Amazon in paperback, ebook, and audiobook.